This podcast was brought to you by the Magic Candle Company. Relive your favorite theme park memories through the magical sense of smell. Receive 15% off at checkout by using discount code DEBATE and help our channel in the process.
Welcome, everybody, to Diz or That, a Disney Debate podcast. Welcome to episode number 5.
We are on 5 already, huh?
Isn't that crazy?
That's
awesome.
Wild.
My name is Justin, and I am joined here by my lovely co-host,
Chris, as always. And
Chris.
Let me tell you, I have been super stoked to do this one. Since we decided that this was going to be an option for us, I have been really pumped. We're doing Disney resorts today. We're doing 2 different Disney resorts. We'll say it in a minute, but this is something I think I am probably most passionate about when it comes to debating them. I love the resorts. I have the most fun at the resorts. So I'm looking forward to talking about them in intense detail, or as much as time allows today.
Yeah, I think that might end up being the thing, right? We're going to have to put a cap on this. You know what? It seems like one of those things, as you kind of dive deeper and deeper into the Disney adult bubble, the resorts become more and more fun. As a kid, the resorts were what they were. They were a place for us to stay whenever I was checking out the parks, but it was all about going to Hollywood Studios. It was all about going to Magic Kingdom or Epcot or something like that. I didn't really care about the resorts too much. I mean, the pool days were fun, but other than that,
for
right?
sure.
Now, as I'm older, this is
hotel
the stuff, man. Like going to the restaurants, seeing the entertainment, like whether or not you're into the pools or not, but the environments. That's what I'm there for. You feel immersed.
For sure. And for me, I mean, like I told you earlier before we started this, when I was young, I didn't go to any Disney resorts. Yeah. We were not a Disney resort family. I was
it's sad.
Disney Springs hotel kind of person. Take the shuttle over to the parks. I wasn't staying at any Disney hotels. So this is something that recently got me. Yeah. When I went down in 2018, that was the first time I stayed at a Disney resort, and it was Pop Century, still one of my biggest loves. But since then, we've stayed at quite a few of them. I don't know if there's one that I haven't been to yet, maybe 1 or 2, but for like the most part,
higher end stuff, or have you guys stayed at any of those? But I'm sure you visited
ones that I haven't. Yeah, I've visited pretty much every resort. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 that I haven't gotten a chance to just because I haven't been over there. Old Key West for one.
Sure.
That's like maybe the only one. I think we've talked about it, but the only one that I really haven't been to yet. But as far as staying, no, I haven't stayed at them all. I've stayed at a lot. Yeah. And the ones we're doing today, obviously,
yes,
we've both stayed at.
We have both stayed at, yeah.
So I think it makes for a good conversation.
And it's nice. Some of those, the upper echelon ones, they are kind of fun to just, the monorail resorts. Grab the monorail, head on over there. Check out the lobbies, see what they got for dining. As much as it would be great to stay in the Polynesian or Grand Floridian, it's on the bucket list of things. But you know what? Some of these moderate resorts, value resorts, it's my thing, man. Like they're still really fun. They're still really cool.
They definitely, add to the experience for sure. No matter what one you stay at, I think. But I mean the big resorts for sure. And when you come down, I think we'll try to find some time to stay at some of those as well.
We're going to do some hotel hopping, baby.
Ooh, I want to make sure we're having a night at some of those big ones, obviously. Separate
we're
rooms,
gonna have a nice
course,
romantic night.
Yeah, separate rooms, of
over
course.
At the Grand Floridian, baby.
but yeah, no, I definitely think it's important, especially if you're going to talk about it. I think staying at it is the best way to get that experience. So,
absolutely.
But let's kind of go over our options today. What we're talking about.
Sure. Yes. And to make sure everybody knows, we are sort of Disney World based here at this podcast. So we are talking about Disney World resorts. Not that there's too many over in Disneyland. Maybe at some point we'll be able to talk about those. But today we're talking about 2 Disney World resorts. We're talking about Port Orleans versus Chris. What's your choice for hotel?
Caribbean Beach Resort. And we picked these because I think they're fairly similar. Yeah. I think there's very equal pros and cons. I think they're very easy to debate and to talk about which is going to be better. And I don't think either one blows either one out of the water.
No, very similar in price point, very similar in accommodations. Like, I think that these are 2 very, very good hotels. I think one of the caveats, though, that we do have to mention up front is sort of I wouldn't say the issue with Port Orleans. It's actually probably an advantage, and I might be using it as a semi-point today. But Port Orleans is divided up into two different hotels, or two different sections of hotels. You have Riverside and you have French Quarter. I think we kind of decided that in the fairness of this fight, to sort of pick one or the other. Now, I haven't stayed at French Quarter, but we have spent a fair bit of time over there. I feel like I got a lot of the lay of the land. We have spent some time over at Riverside, so I know that fairly well, and I'm still trying to make my decision between those two. Now, Chris, do you have any points on either one of these? Which one do you think would be the one that you would recommend me to not do today? Which one do you think is the lamer?
So, I would never say lamer. However, if I would pick for you and say you're picking one, I would say your best bet is going Riverside. That might be an opinion that is agreed with or looked down upon. I think you're going to have the most points if you argue Riverside. I do think, though, and I'm going to give you one. I'm going to allow you to use the other resort if you want to. I think I have some pretty strong aspects of Caribbean Beach that makes it a better resort. So if you want to tag into some of those, we'll let it happen. If you want to pick one that you're talking about, or if you want to just say I'm going to do both and we'll just wing it, that's up to you.
So this is what I think. I think I'm going to go with Riverside. I think if I was going to choose these two, I'm going to go with Riverside, but it's essentially going to lead me off into my first point. I don't want to do multiple points on French Quarter because I just think that that's not super, super fair. I think French Quarter is beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's incredible. I can't wait to stay on that side of the resort at some point.
Totally is.
But I think that my big point for Riverside and having French Quarter in there is that you can walk to French Quarter fairly easily, right? There's a lot of great things that come with that. One of the things being when we were there last, we just missed the bus for Riverside coming out of Magic Kingdom, and the French Quarter bus was right there. So we hopped on the French Quarter bus and we took a beautiful little stroll over to Riverside. It was great. It was amazing. Like, that little walk was so super nice. So I definitely recommend, if you're staying at Riverside or if you're choosing between the two, stay at Riverside, take a little stroll over to French Quarter, go get yourself one of those delicious beignets, enjoy the jazz club that's over there. There's a lot of good things over there. But I think that there's some more stuff for Riverside, but I think we would be like sorely remiss if we didn't talk about French Quarter at all today, and especially the beignets, because that is just like one of the highlights, I think, of that entire resort, if not like part of Disney World. That's a very 100%, big item.
100%. And I'm going to take that as your first point.
That is,
and
yes.
I'm going to counter that first point. I'm going to come up big with another resort in walking distance of Caribbean Beach, and that is Disney's Riviera Resort. Okay. Now, I don't know if you've been able to get over to Riviera.
A little bit, but not a lot.
A brand new resort that Disney came out with a few years ago. And as far as I'm concerned, I think this is their prettiest resort that they've done. I think it looks incredible. So if you are staying at Caribbean Beach, you can't use the pool, obviously, right? So you're not allowed to use their pool, but you have some really nice dining options, really, really great places to go eat, to get a drink there. So you still have the ability to enjoy that resort a little bit if you're staying at Caribbean. I think it's a cool resort to go to. I think it's very, very nice if you have that option to get over there. I don't think it's a must. I'll say, like, if you're staying at one Riverside, Port Orleans. If you're staying at one Port Orleans hotel, I think you kind of have to go to the French Quarter side. But sure. I think this is a really cool added plus of staying at Caribbean, is that you kind of do have this other hotel that you can check out. It's kind of like at Coronado, the Gran Destino Tower, having that as an option to go check out. It's kind of just an added bonus aspect of staying at that hotel.
That's fair. Was this a pre-planned point of yours, or did this just come up on the fly?
It was not pre-planned, but you said walking over, and I had to come up with it.
That's
I don't
great.
even know if I was even to say it, but
you know what? I think that's awesome. And that is kind of that's one of the nice parts about being within the Disney bubble of these resorts is like,
oh, for
you
sure.
get to enjoy all the resorts. You want to take a bus over to a different resort and go check that out in addition to where you're staying? Sure. But honestly, if you're staying at French Quarter, you're staying at Riverside, you probably got enough to do anyway. So,
to be fair,
hey.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, to be fair, yeah, you can go to any resort and check it out. And I think resort hopping is almost like a Disney Olympics type of activity that everyone needs to do, with their time, especially the Magic Kingdom circle there. Everyone has kind of found out about doing the 3 hotels, getting a drink at each one and drinking around the Magic Kingdom monorail. But as far as I'm concerned, the ones that are walking distance are always going to be the coolest, as it kind of is part of your resort at that point, even though it's not. It gives you more options. If you don't like or you're kind of bored of the eating options, the drink options, which is probably going to be impossible as far as I'm concerned, especially at Caribbean, but you have the Riviera. Go enjoy the beautiful views of the French / Italian Riviera, whatever they're going for. I think it's those two. And I think it's a cool aspect of the resort for sure.
Definitely.
That kind of brings me to really my first point, which I think is the main overall point.
Let's get into the meat and potatoes of it. Let's go.
And I don't even know why I said it brings me to it, because it doesn't. This is just I'm going to the first point here.
Bring it on, lay it on me.
That is the theming of the resort. I know you're going to say the same thing. Theming is something that every single Disney resort has. I love the theming of Caribbean Beach specifically because you feel like you're at a real Caribbean resort. If you take the fact out that you're in the middle of a swamp, if you forget that, with the way that they do everything, the sand, the hammocks, the island vibes that they really bring into that resort, you really feel like you're staying at a place in the Caribbean, which I think is really cool. And I can speak to that to some extent. I've been to the Caribbean, so I'm not just holding that out. You know what? I am a world traveler, so I'm not just saying that.
Well, I'll just book a flight to New Orleans. You have been quick.
You have been to. We went to Cancun together, but yeah, I mean, I think the theming is great. I mean, when I'm going on vacation, one of my favorite vacation, what I think of when I go on vacation is palm trees, a beach, sand, the water right there, and I love that's how this resort kind of presents itself.
It's just really crazy, like, to think that, like, you're in Florida and you're seeing palm trees and you're seeing sand. It just transport you to a completely different place, doesn't it? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why that's clearly the winner. I don't know if you can tell my sarcasm right now, but man, this is like,
listen,
I think you're making my point for Port Orleans right now, that they have done such
hard
a good
disagree
job at transporting you out of Florida, out into New Orleans, baby. It's a completely different world over there. And, I get it, right? So you got some palm trees, you got some sand. There's some things that apply there. I'm not saying that's not there for New Orleans, right? There's some swampy-esque area. There are gators in both of these spots. So it totally makes sense. But, like, for me, I think that it transports you a little bit further than it does when you're at the Caribbean Beach Resort. I think that Port Orleans does a great job of really bringing you into a place that
I'm going to argue
feels like New Orleans.
That saying that Orlando is basically built on a swamp, so all they had to do was just add a few buildings there, and their theming is just natural landscape.
But it goes beyond the landscape. It goes beyond a lot of that. I mean, you got to talk about, like, not just about the theming of the building and the architecture, which I think is spot on, but it's like, it's the music, man. It's the vibe. It's the feel. It's the smell. It's everything about that is so picture perfect to New Orleans.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're describing Caribbean Beach perfectly. The architecture, I
think I just
smell,
like jazz music better, man.
You might like jazz music. I mean, like that the steel drums
music is cool, but, like, come on, man, some New Orleans jazz. Are you
Give me the steel drums. Give me the steel drums. Give me that hammock. Give me the beach.
Oh, Michael Scott!
A drink in my hand,
dude. Come on,
a drink in my hand. That's it. That is what I want on vacation, and that's what the Caribbean Beach captures. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
5 minutes.
Talk
5
about
minutes.
the architecture. The buildings are beautiful.
They're fine.
They're beautiful.
Fine. I don't think they touch
Oh
the New
my
Orleans
gosh.
style mansions of Riverside. I don't think they touch all of the sort
That's
of
pretty cool.
Riverside boat
That's cool.
dock, the water mills, all that kind of stuff. I think that's amazing.
I definitely think they touch it in a large way. I think
I
they're.
don't think they do. I don't think they do.
The colors are beautiful. And
Are you saying the colors aren't beautiful in Port Orleans? Are you kidding me?
are they brown? Is that what the colors
All
are
the
going with?
blues, all the greens, all
Browns
the burgundy reds. Like, come on, man.
A lot of
There's
earth
so much
tones. A
pop
lot of
colors.
earth tones.
We're
A lot of
just
earth
missing-
tones.
What is it?
A lot
just
of
all
earth
sand
tones.
tone over by you. It's like tan everywhere.
Oh,
man.
no
Come
way.
on.
You get sand. You have the blues, the pinks, the oranges, the greens.
You're just. I mean, they're all variations of sand colors. I think that's what you're coming off with there. Sand and water. That's about it.
So 2 different themes we have going on here.
We
we have one that's, as you can guess, based on the Caribbean, and one that is based on the beautiful swamps.
I
of New Orleans.
honestly wasn't even going to bring this up in the fight because I felt like they were two like very on par with each other. That's literally what we talked about at the beginning.
But I would say though, and they're not really I think it comes down to what our podcast is. It's this or that.
Yeah.
There's gonna be preference. I think the theme kind of catches the idea of the Caribbean beach resort. I think just based on saying it, I think that theme probably captures more people. But
maybe I gotta say that like the beach thing doesn't do it for me. When I'm going to a Disney resort, I kind of don't want to be at the beach. If I want to go to a beach vacation, I can just go to a beach vacation.
I guess I will also say this for you is that you've never been a beach guy.
I've never been.
You are not a beach guy. So me trying to sell the beach to you right now is like trying to sell you a fishing lure or something.
Ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves, man. Like
it's just not. It's not something that is. And that's it's not something that's gonna sell you right now. So
a guy who hates the beach and literally has studied jazz, like, yeah, man, like Port Orleans is built for me. It's got enough of the environment. There's very little sand. There's some sand around, but like I like seeing the grass, man.
The thing you do have is a lot of shade. I'll give that to you. You got a lot of shade.
It's so good for a big guy in the middle of Florida.
If you're looking for a resort that has shade, you found it. You definitely got it. And yeah, I mean, middle Florida, great. When we were there last, January, it was chilly. I would have taken a little bit more sun, I think.
And I maybe could have as well, but like I was, oh man, prime optimal temperatures for me. And that place was great. I just like, there was not a spot I couldn't find a little bit of coverage from. But even then, like when we did that walk from French Quarter over to Riverside, there was a lot of shade. No, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of sun still. There's a lot of ability to have that if you want that. I just love the lush grass, the vibe of like those New Orleans, like southern mansions that they have around there. Man, some of the metal work of the railings on some, and that's probably a little more French Quarter than Riverside is, but even the cabiny feel that you get when you're in French Quarter and how just like intimate it all feels, just absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I loved every second of it.
Oh yeah. And
I despised everything at Caribbean Beach when
you despised everything. You despised
everything. I didn't even like one thing. Oh god, it was terrible.
You hated it. You absolutely hated it.
Everything good was made bad there. It was just so yucky.
Again, I'm going to go to the fact that this is a guy that went to Cancun and did not touch the sand once.
I didn't come out until like 3 p.m.
You did not.
Day. It was too spicy outside.
It was a beach vacation for everyone but you. I think that was a hotel vacation for you, and
great.
You loved every minute of it, though.
I love a resort. I fell in love with the smell of eucalyptus on that trip, and you know what I did? I fell in love with the smell of Port Orleans when I was there. If you guys don't know, our sponsor, Magic Candle Company, they make a great little scent smelling just like Port Orleans. Me and Chris both got these bad boys, and it smells just like our stay there. You guys can get them in wax melts, in candles, in a bunch of different varieties. Right here, I got the room spray, and we're gonna spray this up real quick. I'm gonna try not to get it in my mouth. It smells beautiful. Why don't we hear a little bit more about our sponsor, the Magic Candle Company?
Evoke the romance and pageantry of the historic New Orleans French Quarter, and imagine taking an afternoon stroll among stately white-column mansions and ancient oak trees of rural Louisiana with our Orleans fragrance. Revel in the sounds of jazz and escape to where the bayou beckons with our Orleans fragrance today at magiccandlecompany.com.
Receive 15% off. Discount code DEBATE.
So why don't you take me here to, I introduced the first thing. Why don't you give me something to fight against here?
All right. You know what I love? And you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I've kind of heard this a little bit. And this could be totally incorrect. And I have some firsthand proof when we were there. I saw a woman walking a beautiful little French bulldog when we were there. Very pet friendly over at Port Orleans, which I think is a big, big plus. If you got a little loved one that you can bring along. It's one of the most tough parts of sort of doing a Disney trip is finding a place that you can bring your little furry little friend with you. And supposedly Port Orleans is a very pet friendly, I think they're at least, they're definitely allowed on property, and I'm pretty sure they're allowed within the hotel rooms. And I don't think that can be said for every hotel at Disney. Now, I'm not 100% sure if Caribbean Beach is one of those hotels, but I think I've been told that Port Orleans might be one of the few, might be one of the only hotels that you can bring your furry little friends.
I will be honest with you. I have no knowledge about what you just said. I don't.
You know why I really brought this up? Because I have heard that it's a thing. And so I wanted to kind of bring that up. I didn't know if you had any inside scoop, but I really just wanted to talk about the fact that I saw just the most gorgeous little cute little bulldog just walking out of our hotel room last time we were there. And it just warms my heart, man. Seeing pets around Disney really, really warms my heart. And I know at one point on one of our trips, we drove past, I believe that there's like a pet hotel, a kind of a kennel situation over there. Oh, yeah. Which is cool. But man, just like seeing those little tykes around, man, nothing's better. Nothing warms my heart more than that.
I don't know about that. And I can't speak on that. I will say though, and I would never argue against a dog, but
how are you gonna beat this point, man? Come on, dude.
This is not hater. This is not a point that I can even say anything about, as I don't think this is. I guess this has something to do. However, if the last thing I want to worry about when I am spending 12 hours at the park is going back to feed the dog, to walk the dog, not something I want to do.
Hey, man, you wouldn't bring Ranger with you? Come on. You're beautiful pup.
There is no part of me that would want to take my dog down to Disney, honestly. I wouldn't. And Katie may say something different, but 100% not something I'm doing.
Oh, man.
But fair. I mean, if that's something that is part of Riverside that you
I think it's
did a gotcha on before, that
I think it's pretty
fair.
neat, and I think that it's pretty different. If this is true, that most pets aren't allowed at other hotels, and this is one of the few, I just think that that's a really cool plus for this hotel that you can't say. I mean, again, we've done a bunch of these arguments where it's like, Brink versus Johnny Tsunami, and they're almost the same freaking movie, and it's like, what do you take that's different than that? What gives some of these hotels a leg up? And like, for me, I just think that's like a cool beginning. It's not my strongest point here, but it's one of the things that I think gives
kind of in lines like a fun fact, and
sure,
I had never even heard that before. However, so I don't even know if that's even true.
I have seen the French bulldog roaming around. I have heard on several internet sources that this is a pet-friendly area. I think even on Disney's website it might have said that. But again, not my strongest point, but an interesting fact nonetheless. Is there what do we got interesting about Caribbean Beach? What's maybe something really unique about that spot in line, say, with the pet thing?
In line, I don't know. In line with that necessarily, I don't know. Maybe you can bring your snakes or something. I'll say that you can bring a snake.
Adopt a bunch of ferrets. I'm going to bring them my next
pet
Disney
spiders
trip.
Are allowed at Caribbean. The only hotel where pet spiders are allowed is Caribbean Beach Resort. But I will say that. So this isn't related to dogs or spiders, but probably the best thing about Caribbean Beach now is, You know what I'm going to say? I don't know if you know what I'm going to say.
I think I know what you're going to say. Yeah, I didn't think you were going to lead with this point, but let's go for it.
This is a good one. Is the Skyliner. Is that what you thought I was going with?
That's where I thought you were going. I would have thought you might save that in your back pocket for a little bit later on, but
no.
Sure.
You
want to blow that card right now? Let's go.
I want to come out with something strong. I already said theming, but Skyliner is the best part about Disney transportation. 100%. It is quick. It's efficient. It gets you to where you need to go. And at the Caribbean beach, we're at the hub. Absolute best place to stay if you're looking for a quick and easy Skyliner trip. You have Hollywood Studios straight there and back very quickly. Epcot's a little bit more of a trip.
Sure.
You got to do a couple little turns there at Riviera and their turnaround station, but you're going to get to Epcot either way. You're going to get to Epcot. But yeah, I mean, I think the Skyliner makes this hotel. I think the buses.
That's I see it. I don't think it's an easy argument to argue against the Skyliner.
You can't argue against it.
It's been wildly popular. We should have just wrote it the last time I was there. I don't know why we hadn't just figured that out because I haven't been on it yet. But give me like a time estimate. What does it roughly take you when you hop on the Skyliner to go from Caribbean Beach to Hollywood Studios? Like what does an average ride take? Because I don't have any knowledge of it.
It's super fast. Probably 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
It's making my argument a little bit tougher because
it is quick. It is quick.
I don't hate the bus system, I think, as much as most people do. I think it also probably plays on like some nostalgia stuff of being a kid, going on the bus, the preparation, the excitement that builds there. Really cool. I mean, there's no doubting, right?
I mean, I don't mind the buses. I don't mind the buses for sure. I mean, it's a great option to have for sure. The problem, I think, with the buses is there's a lot of waiting involved. If you want to get somewhere fast, if you want to get to Hollywood Studios, you're there quickly. You don't need to wait for the bus.
I guess
coming back, you don't need to wait for the bus. You just get in line, and generally, depending on the time you go, if you're going to rope drop, you might have a little bit of a wait. If you're going first in the morning, there might be a little bit of wait, but you're getting right onto that Skyliner very quickly. You're getting to the park very quickly. Yeah. Epcot is a little bit more of a journey just because there's a few turnarounds there, but you're still not awful. You're probably looking about 15 minutes.
Sure.
And even then, I mean, you got great views. You're in the sky. You're basically getting a free ride out of it.
There are some cool, from what I've seen, sort of almost like, you can see a lot of backstage areas. You can see a lot of things that you don't normally get an opportunity to see if you're on the bus.
And then here's the big one, watching the fireworks from the Skyliner.
Have you done that? Have you gotten that experience yet?
All the time. I do get that experience often. Listen, this is something that I'm sure gets a lot of hate. Some people are fireworks, nighttime show diehards. I'm okay with them, but listen, I would much rather get back to the hotel before the rush when the parks close.
I mean, that's fair.
I'll watch them if I'm staying somewhere super close. If I'm staying at the boardwalk, sure, we'll watch the nighttime show. Then we'll head over to Jelly Rolls for a drink. Okay, but if I'm trying to get back to the hotel to get there in time for my nighttime bowl of pasta, you can bet that I'm hopping on there sooner. So more times than not, I think we're hopping on the Skyliner by fireworks, and we're getting to see them from the sky, which is a very cool feature. That is
very unique. That's very cool. I'm a little disheartened because I was going to say next time I'm down, we got to stay for a fireworks show. We got to stay for something. I want to see some of the cool projection mapping stuff. Anyway, here's my thing. I don't have much to argue against it. I can't really sit here and tell you that the Skyliner isn't the coolest thing that's come out for Disney transportation in a while, especially since they've taken so many other little things away. Like I was saying, the buses are fine. And I don't really have much of a problem with the buses, but I see where you're coming from. And I think the biggest point in that, because like, fine, if it takes you 15, 20 minutes to get somewhere on the bus, that's okay. But that's if your bus arrives the minute that you get to that stop. And so I do have to like concede the point to you there, because the Skyliner is like an Omnimover-esque system where that thing is just rocking the entire time. So the minute you get there, if there's no line, you can just jump right in a bucket and it'll take you away. So
and
you're moving the minute you get there.
There is a lot of stops at Riverside too,
and that is absolutely
Caribbean true. Beach also has a lot of stops, but it's saved by the fact that it has the Skyliner. I can get to 3 different parks by taking the Skyliner, then monorail. I don't need to get on a bus. I would if I was going to Magic Kingdom. I'm not going to walk through Epcot, get onto the monorail, and then go to Magic Kingdom that way. I'm not going to do it, but the option's there if I wanted to. I don't need to get back on a bus, and I can just take the Skyliner. I love the Skyliner. I'm a huge fan of the Skyliner. And I think that is one of the biggest pluses or biggest reasons just to even stay at Caribbean Beach for sure.
I mean, it makes sense, right? That's why Pop has been such a big hotel lately. Like, totally makes sense. The only other thing that I can even maybe throw back at it is kind of what we were talking about earlier of just
the dogs. You got the dogs.
The dogs. I'm gonna I
still don't even know if that's a real thing.
I totally made that up. I saw a legit French bulldog there. I missed my one.
You saw the dog.
I got a little teary-eyed about it. I heard that it's pet friendly. We'll move on. It's fine. The only
we'll see.
The only thing that I can say is that there are, because of French Quarter and Riverside, there's 2 different buses there, which is kind of nice. It helps you out if you miss one or the other. Again, it's not doing the same thing the Skyliner is, but there are some extra transportation things there, which kind of leads me into one of my points. The boat rides, man. The boat ride over at Riverside, I think, is really cool. Is it the Skyliner? Not necessarily, but it gets you down to Disney Springs real nice. And that was such a fun experience when we were there last time, taking that boat ride. We had to wait a little bit, but you know what? I'm fine taking in the atmosphere. I'm fine listening into the jazz music in the air, hearing the birds chirp, man. It was really fun. Going down on the water, that was really cool. Listen to some jazz tunes all the way there. Like, that was fun. We didn't do too many stops or anything, so it made our ride a little smoother. I know that it connects to like all those different hotels and everything on that strip. But having an easy way, having a direct access to Disney Springs is amazing, because Disney Springs is one of the best parks at Disney, hands down.
Yeah, the Port Orleans one will generally run to just Port Orleans and back. They have the separate boats to the other ones like Saratoga. Yeah. But yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that is,
it's beautiful.
It's great to have that. It does it take a while? Yes, and you got to wait for the boat to be right. But it is fun. It is
the same way that the Skyliner is nice for that like view and kind of what it is.
It is neat. It's a neat feature. I will say, if you're riding the boat, don't sit on the back seat, because it's loud, it's vibrating, and you can't even talk in the back seat. It's just so loud. So loud.
Fair enough.
So if you can sit up front, it's a nicer experience. I think it's a cool aspect. It does it break down sometimes? I've heard yes.
Have you been stuck on it when it gets broken down in the middle of the river?
Katie did recently.
Did you really? That's nuts.
They had to get towed. It was a whole thing.
Wow.
So they have, but in the same vein, I mean, the Skyliner does go down from time to time. Sure. Bad weather shuts it down. Granted, the boat, same thing, but bad weather can shut the Skyliner down, which kind of takes away from the benefit of, if you're going down there on 3 thunderstorm days, you can't even take the Skyliner. Not that Florida thunderstorms are really going to last all day, but some days maybe be too windy or what have you. Yeah. And it can shut down the whole system, and that's tough. And then you got to go back to the buses, which if that's the worst thing to happen, I mean, it's not that bad. Or you can take an Uber or a Lyft or a minivan or something too. You have the options. You have the options, and
I like that these two hotels have these sort of alternate options. It's just kind of like, what are you prioritizing?
For sure.
Are you prioritizing a day at the parks? You really want to hit up Epcot, Hollywood Studios, or are you a little bit more the nightlife type of person? You want to go to Disney Springs, which for me, like having the ability to sort of cap off your day if you're not trying to do a full day at the park, that's incredible. I know that we've done a few other things where it's not always super easy to get over there, or we're spending a long time if you're doing like an Oga's Res late night and you're spending all your time at Hollywood Studios. You don't get that chance to like cap your night off at Disney Springs. So having that direct line right from the hotel to Disney Springs, I think is phenomenal. That was the best, one of the best experiences I've had with Disney transportation. So I got to give that a point up.
Anytime there's alternative transportation, it's a plus. It's a selling point, and it's going to increase the value of staying at that resort for sure.
100%.
Is it the
Skyliner? I don't know. I think it's fair.
It's nice to be able to get to Disney Springs. I mean, that's Disney's fifth park, and it's a nice way to get down there. That's not taking the bus. It's one of the only ways, and usually it's fairly quick. You know, it's not a bad option for sure. Sometimes just taking the bus to Disney Springs is quicker. But it's a scenic route. You get to go through the golf course. You get to see the nature. So cool. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I'm all about it. I'm all about the nature. I'm all about the experience, man.
So here's something that I think that, okay, I think they're going to be a little equal. As I know what you're going to say. There's something about Port Orleans which definitely sells me. However, let's go bar and dining options.
All right, let's do it. We want to go here right now. Let's go. I'm ready.
I think so. I think this is really where the resorts in general shine, is what they have to offer as far as food goes and as far as drinks go. A lot of, especially the value resorts, the only way you can get a drink is either at the store or at the pool bar.
Pool bar, yeah.
But moderate resorts, that's not the case. You have your own bar somewhere, and always a good option. What I like about Caribbean is that their bar is also their pool bar, which is very fitting to the theme. It's
that's
not
fair.
In the pool section, it's like all the other ones. It's outside the gates. It's right there, but it's also it's covered. The decor is really good. There's tables there. There's an actual bar you can sit at that wraps around. There's not a lot of U bars at Disney where you can kind of sit and see across.
Okay.
There you can't recall if there's bar seats on across, or if it's more just an L there. Regardless, you can kind of have that experience where you're seeing other people. It's not just a straight bar. I like that.
Sure.
That's some John Taffer bar rescue, bar science stuff.
Bar science, baby.
But I think the bar itself is awesome. Not only the theming, but like I said, it's outside, so you're really getting that Caribbean feel. It's open air, but it is covered, so rain or shine, you're able to get a drink there. I like the offerings at that bar. Specifically the rum options, the rum drinks, and the rum flight. We're in the Caribbean. We're going to be hanging out with the rum, with Mr. Captain Morgan.
Makes sense.
So I think the options they have are really, really fun. I mean, like I said, when I'm wanting a drink and I'm on vacation, what do I want to drink? I want a pina colada. I want a rum drink. I want a hurricane. Give me something that makes me feel like, hey, I'm in the Caribbean. I'm on vacation.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a beach guy or a Jimmy Buffett guy, sure, of course, those are definitely the ways to go. But one of the clarifications that I want to have, are you saying that this bar is very unique to Caribbean Beach, that there's nothing else like that sort of a thing at any other moderate resorts? Is that's a pretty one-off sort of deal?
I will give you one pretty unique thing about this bar.
Okay, all right.
It's a perfect view for the Epcot fireworks.
That's really nice.
Over the water, you're looking over the water from the bar, and you're seeing the fireworks, which is really sick. Some good kind of appetizer options. I like the bar. The Banana Cabana is what it's called.
Oh, that's cute. That is.
How fun is that name?
That's pretty cute.
How fun is the Banana Cabana?
It's pretty cute.
It's a cool bar.
I don't know if you are familiar with a little bar called Muddy Rivers, but Muddy Rivers, very similar to what you're talking about. I believe they have foosball, though, too. So I don't know if you have any foosball over at your bar. But we got foosball and I believe frozen Cokes. So as a big Coca-Cola fan, oh, boy, that's a fun time right there. So
there's nothing worse than a frozen Coke.
Hey, get out of here. Get out. You're kicked off the podcast. If anybody wants to come on and join as a new co-host, I'm looking for a new co-host.
Frozen Diet Coke, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
if they can.
It's all they can maybe make
too much sugar.
Work. I don't know.
Too much sugar.
Whatever, man. But if we're talking bar options, all right, we got to go inside. We got to go inside Riverside. I didn't want to bring this up first, man. I was holding on to this for my big finale, but we're gonna do it right now, baby. River Roost. River Roost is one of the best options for grabbing a good drink. I believe they have some food offerings there. Just a fantastic little New Orleans-esque environment. I'm just going to throw it out now. I was maybe even going to save this like sub point for later. This is my trump card, dude. This is the biggest trump card.
I'm waiting for it. So I want to get this out of the way.
Here it is. Yeehaw Bob, baby.
Yeah.
Good old Yeehaw Bob. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Yeehaw Bob. Me and Chris are very familiar with Yeehaw Bob. An incredible, upright, sort of classic jazz New Orleans piano player and singer. One of the greatest performances, literally, that I have seen in my life. And as a musician, I have seen many performances. I can say without a doubt, the hype is real for Yeehaw Bob. Unbelievable performer, playing a litany of things. Different, just music in general, a lot of Disney stuff. Me and Chris had probably one of the best experiences. I wasn't on the fence about going, but we were late night last time we were there at Riverside, and I didn't know if I just wanted to go to bed or if I wanted to try to catch. You were
kind of
couple minutes.
I mean, you had a big day. You had a big day at the park.
I had rope dropped. I was on Galaxy's Edge all day long. I was tired, man. I was exhausted.
You had a big day.
This was like, hey, this is our one opportunity to go check out Yeehaw Bob, River Roost. Let's go grab a drink. Let's go see him. All right. We walk over there. He's not even playing anymore. We thought he was done. We were like, man, we missed him. We missed it.
This was fairly late at this point, so it would have made sense. You know, it was probably 11 o'clock maybe.
Yeah, things were like going to shut down soon. We didn't have much time to even grab a drink. We were going to grab one and then head back up to the room. Put our drink order in, and that dude starts playing. And not only did I just spend an entire day at Galaxy's Edge, but then this guy comes in playing the Cantina theme. It was a magical moment. It was a magical experience. And that guy played for another probably 30 to 45 minutes. Absolutely had the entire crowd in that place just lit up. It was one of the best performances.
And he's been there for decades.
Yeah.
For decades. Yeah. I mean, this is no joke. This was big news when COVID happened and he was let go. They weren't having the entertainment. I mean, that was huge news. I mean, it was a heartbreaker. And now he's back in action and he's doing his thing. And with this podcast, like you said, we like to argue about, what's better. But the big thing is for one, I think, again, just talking about the Disney things in itself, but also information about Disney, what you should be doing when you're going to Disney is as much as I don't want to concede, the bar. I knew you were going to come up with this. I knew you were going to say, and I knew I would have nothing to say.
Yeah.
He is your fireworks. Bob Jackson is your fireworks. True. You have it. You definitely, you have him. If you're staying there, you have to go see that show. You have to go see him play.
This is one of those things too, where like people will go stay at a value resort. They'll go stay off property, but they will make a point to go to River Roost to go see Bob perform when they're down there. Like,
there's not a lot of places that provide entertainment like that. Not a lot of resorts that do that. So
no, I mean, your only other option to get anything even remotely close is probably Jelly Rolls. And like, as great, phenomenal as the people over at Jelly Rolls are, nobody compares to Bob. Bob is just so unique. Yeehaw Bob has just a style.
Bob Jackson is he is the best. He is the best. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a reason why he's been there forever. There's a reason why he has such a cult following. He's a superstar, and he really is the definition of Disney and Disney entertainment. for sure.
It's true.
100%.
We are 100%. No matter where we're going next time I'm down, we're going to see him, and we're going to go journey over to Jelly Rolls after, because that is a crazy fun 1-2 punch right there, man. Oof. It's a good time. I can listen to that.
You sold me. I'm ready to go this weekend, actually.
Let's go.
So let's go.
Let's go. I got some airline miles. Let's go, baby. I'll book the flight.
I think we have to. But yeah, I mean, so you got me there.
Point. It's a great bar. It's a really fun spot. It feels very New Orleans. And just it tops off with that sort of upright jazz piano playing thing. It's set up so well. The piano actually rocks back and forth. It's wicked fun. Everything is themed really well there. As a musician, as an audio guy, I know this doesn't matter to most people, but like they were just hiding all like the gear really well, and it was so in theme for Port Orleans in general, but New Orleans. Like it just, I can't describe how fun that little spot is. And it really is like a little spot. It's not like this huge, big ordeal. It's this little cozy spot that like you don't get there early enough, or you got a lot of people there on a weekend night. I am sure.
Yeah, it's not a lot of seating for sure.
Up.
It definitely does. It spills over even into the sitting area behind it. There's really not a ton of space in there. So
yeah,
making sure you're getting there, getting a bar spot is super important, you know, to enjoy that night. But yeah, I mean, having a drink there, you know, and watching that is a top 10 Disney experience that you can do for sure. For sure.
100%. And I mean, not to like, I get it, man. That was my trump card. So like, does Caribbean Beach have any good entertainment options that we're looking at? Like, what do we got for entertainment when you're down there?
Entertainment, amenity wise, I mean, you have some of the things that you're going to get at other resorts. You have the movies under the stars, which yes. you're getting at French Quarter.
Yes.
You know, you have volleyball, you have fishing. I know you also have fishing there.
I was going to bring up fishing. I thought that was semi-unique. Somebody must have missed.
You got fishing, there, so but Caribbean Beach has fishing.
Probably also not unique either. But
it could be. It could be. Like I said, never heard of this. Never heard of it. So, but yeah. Nothing like that for sure. Dining though,
yeah.
one of the big ones, which Caribbean has, which not a lot of other places have a place as good as this, especially at the moderate level, is Sebastian's Bistro. Mm-hmm. This is a huge dinner place. Opens after 5, but huge cult following because it's solid food. You pay a set price, you get an entree with your sides. And it's a super nice place to just have dinner, to relax a little bit, unwind after a long park day. The food is just top notch there. I don't know what you can say to that, considering, sure. But it's a really good place that I would recommend. As far as the other dining options there, so the Centertown Market you have at Caribbean Beach, that's kind of like your quick service. Yeah. Really cool food options because you have a lot of that Caribbean inspired food. You can get your pizza and your chicken fingers, but besides that, it kind of welcomes you to get into that Caribbean mood and have some, like the jerk chicken, the plantains, the rice, yuca. A lot of cool on theme options.
Sure. Yeah, very similar over at Port Orleans. You have kind of the standard quick service cafe. We have already touched on the beignets and stuff, so I'm not going to like bring that back up into the fight. But some good.
That's a good argument. It's a good argument.
It is a great argument. I don't want to. If I'm taking Riverside though, I'm trying to fight the fight the way that
you're trying to fight the fight. That's fair.
Because the beignets are just, it's another Yeehaw Bob. I feel like it's another just explosion of boom. There it is. You got the Scat cafe and stuff over there, like the jazz lounge over there. So like all that stuff's great. And that's all in walking distance if you're over at Riverside. Some good, the food court, solid option. Grabbing your midnight, bowl of noodles, like that was great. Some chicken fingers, stuff like that. And if you're into more of the southern like gumbo style cooking and stuff, I've heard that obviously if you're from New Orleans, you're not going to be as impressed as mom or auntie's, cooking. But solid, comfort food for you there if you need it. Some good.
It is good.
I think they have one good quick service restaurant. I forget the name of it. And there might be some bites over at River Roost. River Roost was definitely my be all end all in the food.
For sure.
But I think some fairly solid, fairly comparable options. You're not going to have a bad time. You're going to get fed, and you're going to get fed well.
I forgot this. You don't have the beignets at Caribbean Beach, but you do have the pineapple bread pudding. That is super popular and one of the best desserts you can get at Disney. It's kind of like low-key good, but still, I think that itself has a pretty good following.
It's an up-and-comer.
It will be, what gets everyone to Caribbean. But sure. it is solid, and that's how you finish a dinner at Sebastian's, is with that pineapple bread pudding with some caramel, a little vanilla ice cream.
It's good. It is nice that there are these sort of like unique dessert options at each one of these spots. Not even just to bring people in, but just to kind of like cap off those experiences. Again, if you're over at Riverside, take that walk, go over to French Quarter, grab a beignet. If you're at Caribbean Beach, of course you're going to need something pineapple-y, right? That's a must.
Oh, for sure.
So, for sure. That works. Yeah. I don't have too many other things that I was looking to fight today. One of the cool extra options that I don't know if it's available at many other resorts, but if you're looking for some nice romance for you and a significant other, or just having a fun time, me and you, next time we're going to do this, we're going to rent ourselves a little horse and buggy, little horse and carriage next time we're at Port Orleans. Very, very popular. If you're walking through French Quarter, you'll see a lot of those old New Orleans style hitching posts and stuff. I don't know if there's too many of them over on the Riverside, but it's a very New Orleans sort of southern experience, and I think that's really fun for you, the significant other, or just two guys trying to have a good time. Maybe we'll have to see how long we can rent that thing out for and record a podcast right on a horse and buggy, baby.
The horse thing is cool. Sometimes it can be a little frightening when you're walking back after Disney Springs and you've had a few drinks and you see a giant horse in your face.
That did happen to us.
Yeah. That can be a little freaky. But so you're looking for romantic, that's what you do. If you're looking to get splashed in the face by a child, I think one of the biggest selling points of
Okay, we're switching gears. Okay, I see. All right, I'm following now. Keep going.
The biggest selling point of Caribbean Beach, I think, is their pool. Okay. This is one of the top-rated pools in Disney for sure. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people feel that way. I think a lot of people will put this as their number one pool, especially in the moderate category, the moderate hotel category. This probably is the most favored pool. There are bigger pools. Coronado Springs is huge. Mm-hmm. This is not the biggest pool, but it's modeled. I'm sure you remember it as that kind of old Spanish fort with the cannons, the exposed brick, the water slide, from the turret there. It's really solid. It's really cool. You feel like a pirate or something when you're swimming there. I think it's a really, really cool way, and the way the water's all around, where that pool is, I think it's really neat. And if my argument is it's really, really cool and really neat, I think that says enough.
That's it. That's all he needs. It's been established on this podcast from literally episode 1 that Chris has always wanted to be a pirate. So again, you've wanted to be a pirate.
I did.
You fought for Finding Nemo. We could draw a through line between most of these arguments right now. That's just Chris was meant to be living at the beach.
We have quite a few where I mention the ocean or the water, or the pool or pirates. Yeah, it
makes so much sense.
Really solid. And I know you're not a big pool guy yourself.
I'm not a pool guy, and again, it makes sense, right? This is why I take Port Orleans. This is why I love Port Orleans so much. It's just not for me. Doesn't do it for me. But again, I can't not concede that point to you.
It's a cool
I
pool.
didn't check out the pools too much. I know some of our pals who were palling around with us weren't too happy. It was sort of the midst of winter when we were down at Port Orleans and things weren't open.
Yeah,
things weren't.
I would say the French Quarter pool, anyways, is probably a little more superior to what they have at Riverside.
Sure.
One of the nice things about both hotels, and many hotels do this though, especially the bigger ones where there's a lot of walking distance in between, you know, where you're at and to the main pool, is the fact that they have smaller pools available.
Yes.
So if you don't want to go to the big pool, you have the quieter pools. Caribbean Beach does it really well. Each little village, they call them, which is, you know, the little areas named after different islands there. They have their own pool there where if you want a quieter experience, you get to enjoy that. Riverside does the same thing. You know, it again kind of comes down to preference, what you're looking for. Caribbean Beach is a little bit, it's only a few years older. I think the pools feel a little bit older for some reason.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the hard corners that they have at those smaller pools. I don't know what it is. It could just be the theme, but like the Jamaica pool it doesn't feel very luxury, but again, we're staying at a moderate resort. I don't know.
Hey,
but
man, thank you for
regardless,
your own
regardless, I'm still going to, what do they call the, I'm going to butcher it. I'm not even going to say it. Nope, not going to do it.
He's not going to try.
He's not going to do it. Something tomorrow.
Roast us in the comments.
I don't know.
Hey, I get it. You know, I think it does make sense. If you're looking for, if you're looking for a beach-esque resort, it makes sense to go with a resort with the beach name in it. You're going to find things that are related to that. That absolutely makes sense. If you're looking for some more live entertainment and a delicious libation, you know, you're probably going to lean more towards Port Orleans. These are two things that are like very, very similar. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily like yin and yang, like they're complete opposites, but like within ourselves, you know, you're more of an outdoory kind of beach guy. I'm more of an indoor, listen to some jazz kind of guy. So like, we're not completely different, but these two really, I think, fit the aesthetics.
I like
a little bit of those types of people.
It does for sure. It comes down to what you're looking for your vacation. If you want something that feels quieter, you're going to go Riverside. If you want something that feels more lively and like you're on a vacation where you're, you know, having a good time and drinking, I think you're going to be
really talking it up, man.
You're going to be going to like a Caribbean Beach. If you want that location,
beach vacation,
that good central location with the Skyliner hub right there, with the ability to go to Riviera, you're going to be going to Caribbean Beach.
That's fair. That's fair. And I can't argue with that. If you want to explore some other things, I think that's great. If you want a resort that can do it all and that you don't need to go anywhere, you could spend your entire week just right at Riverside,
right at Caribbean.
Walk on over to French Quarter. Have a good time. You don't need anything else. That's all you need.
You say Caribbean or Caribbean? What one's right?
I don't know. I say both. That's why I've been kind of avoiding it, to be honest. I've been trying to make you do it.
I've been saying both. I really don't. We did the whole episode on Pirates of the Caribbean. I think I said Caribbean.
I probably said Caribbean. I probably said Caribbean. I probably said both. We should go back and watch that. We should tally
I don't know. Are there? Is there a right one?
I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way to say it. I have heard it said both ways. To me, I think this is a very Star Wars situation where it's a Han sort of a thing, an AT versus an AT-AT. It's a people say stuff differently all the time.
That's
and
fair.
It just kind of, it can be what it can be.
That is,
I guess the
totally
only
fair.
real officialness that we would have is anything from Walt talking about the Pirates ride, and if he says it, we might want to default to that. The only other thing that we might want to do is look at the Pirates movies, and maybe we look at that as official canon for how to say it. But I'd be willing to bet it's said both ways. In
just ask someone from the Caribbean too.
We could get legit. That's probably the actual way to do it.
I'd probably, kind of respect the area.
That's probably the respectful thing to do. But
what a German American thinks. But
we can default to our Lord and Savior Walt. That's fine.
Well, we'll see. There is one thing that I think that. So I don't want to completely concede it, but you've conceded a few things to me.
Hey man,
I'll say the rooms.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't even really talk about the meat and potatoes of it, but I think it's a fair point to bring up.
To be honest with you, I love the Riverside rooms. I love the French Quarter rooms. I think the theming in both those rooms, the Princess and the Frog theming is awesome. I think it looks so good. It feels clean. You know, all Disney feels clean, but those specifically, everything is so new, so updated. I really like being in those rooms for sure. Especially because
really nice.
you're, and this is another older resort. 91 it was built, I think. And that's 30 something years, 32 years at this point. So you have these like older buildings on the exterior, and you go inside and they're these really nice, renovated, clean looking rooms. It's a really cool experience. Highly
themed, like to the point where it's like, it's enough where you're recognizing it. It's not enough to like feel uncomfortable, because I can't, like, I have seen themed sort of hotel rooms that just do it way too above and beyond, but it doesn't feel like you're walking into, and again, not to shade a value resort, but like some of the value resorts feel very similar, whether you're at any one of the All Stars or Pop or somewhere else. So.
Well, those are all kind of the same. Yeah. There's no theming inside the room. They just, they did a generic theme that can match them all, which is fine. You know, it's fine.
Yeah.
However,
this really feels unique.
It definitely does. It's really, especially the Riverside, with just how they do that pull down bed for the fifth sleeper option. I love that. I will say though, at Caribbean, up until recently, they had carpets in the room.
He is not a fan of a carpeted hotel room.
And you know this more than
he
anyone.
is having a migraine right now.
Just thinking about carpet in a hotel room is honestly one of the grossest things to me.
Yeah, it's tough, because so many of the hotel rooms I have stayed in, like so actually few of the hotel rooms I've stayed in have not had carpet, that it doesn't fully fly with me. But once you brought up that point on our last trip, it actually really changed a lot for me, and I really prefer it doesn't even have to necessarily be like a hardwood, but some sort of
definitely
hard
it'll be a hard
carpet.
surface, something easy to sweep and clean.
Yeah.
Carpet is disgusting. It feels dusty. It feels dusty.
It's moldy.
And the old Caribbean rooms, so the other stuff I think is fairly renovated, but they've been taking out the carpet for you know, whatever you call those floors. So
like a vinyl flooring kind
vinyl
of deal
flooring.
Or something.
There you go. Yeah. It's vinyl flooring. It's easy to sweep. It's easy to clean. So they've been replacing all those. I don't know if it's 100% replaced now. Last time I stayed at Caribbean, probably last summer, and I think that's when they were replacing all of them. When I stayed in, it was carpet. Didn't love it.
Yeah,
didn't love it. Sure. It felt dusty. Now though, they do look better. I've seen some pictures with the hard floors. It looks good. They did have the old pirate rooms in Trinidad.
Okay.
They have completely done away with that, which is good, because those were a dark secret.
He did not like that.
I don't think anyone really did. There was a lot of talk about how thin the mattresses were, how dark it felt in there. And you can see pictures online. Hey, you were sleeping in a pirate ship bed, which is cool, I guess. But they took away the pirate theme, and now they've done a kind of Little Mermaid kind of theme room in those rooms.
Interesting.
They look good. They look really good, actually. They're bright. They're blue. So those have changed, and those are getting really better. I do think though that in general, the French Quarter and Riverside rooms kind of have my heart there. They're awesome. They're awesome.
They're very, very nice. I definitely was big part of the reason why I like Port Orleans. It's just everything about it is great. I think a step further too with that, like you were talking about, a lot of Princess and the Frog theming there, which fits so perfectly. And it's not just the rooms, which is cool too. It's everywhere at Port Orleans, whether it's French Quarter, Riverside, anywhere. It's so like Tiana is everywhere. All of those characters are just sprinkled in throughout the entire resort so seamlessly that it doesn't feel like you're being hit over the head with it. It's not kind of the value resort, like look at the giant football at the All-Star Sports Resort. Like it's just very subtle. Yeah. It's very nice. And I really appreciate that little bit of integration into that. And I would, not that it fits every resort, right? A Little Mermaid thing probably makes sense at a place like Caribbean. How many other princesses can we tie into stuff? I don't know, but it would be cool if almost like every hotel kind of had its own IP associated with it, its own princess associated with it. I think that would be a really cool touch, and I think that's something Port Orleans has mastered. Done very, very well.
Yeah, no, they definitely did. I can't. That movie kind of fell in the lap of Port Orleans. Before that,
yeah, it did.
It really wasn't. You know, there was nothing really there. It's like the Norway Pavilion in
in Frozen
and Epcot. Yeah, Frozen kind of fell right into that seamlessly.
Yeah,
and it took away the maelstrom, but. I know a lot of people are still upset about that.
Subject. Let's not bring that one up. But
however, you know, it's one of those things that it kind of fell into the situation very well without them having to really push it or force it.
Or to do much, which really played to its hand well. If they did too much, if it was a full Tiana themed, you know, like they're doing with Splash Mountain, if it was a fully themed resort, it would be too much. It would be a lot. I like the subtleness of it. And that's probably a similar line to what you're talking about with like sort of the dark, dingy, thin mattress pirate rooms. Like, let's subtle it up a touch. You know, I appreciate the theming, but let's make it subtle enough that it doesn't sort of impact your stay too much.
Just too much.
So, yeah, I think that's...
And in all situations, get rid of the carpet.
Get rid of the carpet.
Get rid of the carpet.
Very anti-carpet. He doesn't like...
If your hotel has
carpet, I'll get rid of it.
You know my feelings about the last hotel we stayed at with carpet. I had a sick feeling in my stomach.
Nothing felt good to him at this unnamed resort off Disney property. We will say that.
Off Disney property.
Off Disney property. There's only so many to pick from, so you can fill in the dots yourself.
Well, what do you think here? Is there anything else you had to say for?
I'm sure that there is more that we could talk about. We could really.
I mean, these are big resorts. These are for sure.
Yes, this is stuff that we're definitely. I mean, it's on my list, man, of stuff that we're going back and we're doing. We're trying to schedule in our 2025 trips here and figure out what we're doing, where we're staying, where we're going, and like these are on the list. I think we need to do both of these. I mean, there's so many other things to do,
and we do. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, when we have an hour to talk, there's only so much we can get to.
Yeah.
I think overall for everything that we try to get to, I think we did pretty good. And hopefully, if anything, this kind of helps turn someone's mind on where they're going to go, where you're going to spend your Disney vacation.
How are you going to, we're going to have to keep doing these and keep making it a point, because I like talking about this. I like doing the research, and it's almost just like, even if you haven't been there, it's just the planning of it. It's easy to fight one of these fights because it's just doing the research, figuring out all these different hotels. There's so many cool places to stay in the Disney bubble. I want to try to hit them off. I think we got to make a big joint list. I know your list is going to be a lot more ticked off than mine, but we're going to try to see if we can hit every single one of the hotels within the next handful of years, the next year, 2, 3. We'll figure it out.
I think we can do it. I think we can do it.
I think that's fair. But I've loved this. I loved smelling. I don't know where my spray is, but smelling my Port Orleans spray, man, takes me right back there. I've loved doing this research. This was an incredibly fun episode for me. I know you feel the same way. We want to hear your guys' opinions, everybody. Which one is better? Is it Port Orleans Riverside? Is it Caribbean Beach? We're probably even going to just put up a poll. Is it Caribbean or Caribbean? And then we'll have to put up another poll to see if it's French Quarter versus Riverside. What's your favorite there? You can always let us know in the comments of YouTube in your favorite podcasting app. But make sure to go check us out on Instagram at Diz, D-I-S, or That Pod, Diz or That Pod. We're available there. That's where we do the primary posting of those polls, but you can also check us out at TikTok or even on YouTube Shorts and YouTube in general, where we host our video version of this podcast. Chris, you got anything else to say to the people before we wrap it up?
I have nothing else to say to the people for today.
I think we left it all on the table, man. I think
we did. I think we did.
100%. Once again, guys, thank you all for joining us, and thank you to our sponsor, the Magic Candle Company. Go check them out. Go make sure to get your 15% off, and you're going to help us out in the process by using the discount code DEBATE. Thank you all for joining us here at the happiest debate on earth. We will see you all next episode.
Boom.
This podcast was brought to you by the Magic Candle Company. Relive your favorite theme park memories through the magical sense of smell. Receive 15% off at checkout by using discount code DEBATE and help our channel in the process.